Jax is done. Woohoo! We're live.
Okay, we're live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Independent Constitutional
United States Constitution Group.
United States Constitution Group.
Thank you, Jack.
All right, it was a little struggle to get here today. As you can see, my brother's here. Junior's here.
Hey,
Yep. Hello.
Dennis is up in training with Madeline. And next week we won't be here because I'm going up to New York and Dennis and Madeline are going on a cruise. So you guys, I hope you have fun on that. All right, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance and we'll get into things. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we say that for as long as we can. We don't know how long that's going to last.
yeah.
Hopefully the right things happen this November and we can maybe start getting our country back. I don't know.
There's a lot of bad things going on.
Yeah, well, you know, it is terrible. It is very bad. Jack, are you okay? You need anything?
Nope, I'm good.
Would you like to say nothing?
Nope.
You won't say nothing, huh?
I thought you had stuff.
You had stuff last week.
I had stuff last week.
Anyway. All right, so we're going to get started with Mike, because Mike's topic is the topic of the show, college protest.
Yes.
These kids just show how much their college is not worth.
Well, first of all, I would like to have somebody go to these kids and ask them, because it's river to ocean. Ask them, do you know where the river is or the name? And do you know the name of the ocean? And can you point out Gaza on our map?
Well, not only that, though. How about this? You're protesting something to the point of the upteenth thing.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what Gaza stands for? Can you tell us what Hamas stands for? Can you tell us anything about the Palestinian people? Any part of their history? Now, their history goes all the way back to biblical time.
Right.
You're in an Ivy League school. Can you explain any of this?
I don't think they can.
Mike,
I don't think they could explain the simple things.
Like where
is it?
Where do the Palestinians live?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Point it out. Show us. You're protesting, so you must know so much more than everybody else. Like, apparently, they're not terrorists. Can you tell us why? In your eyes, they're not terrorists. Can you point down on a map where they are? Those sayings that you're saying from river to sea, you know that means you want to push the Israelis out of their country. And can you tell me where is that river
not only that,
and where's that sea?
They don't want to push them out of their
They want to
country.
destroy them.
They want to push them off of existence.
Right.
They just want them gone.
They have said that.
So
And yet these students don't know.
here's another thing you have. All right, so you have these students, and we know K through 12 are now, and has been for many decades, that the college level has been not taught the right way.
No.
But we have sitting representatives and senators that are also agreeing with these people. We have an absolute Representative Omar who had called these Jewish students genocidal.
Right.
So they're genocide. So why don't we ask her?
To leave.
Now she was born in that region. See if she can explain the history of the Palestinian people.
But
And the
how about the
and
women's rights
Hamas.
there?
You know, but here's the thing though, Mike. Okay, you lived in that region.
Why are you here?
And why did your family come here? Why did you immigrate here? And she didn't immigrate here she came on asylum. Her family came here on asylum. So it wasn't even like, we're doing okay, but we're gonna do the American dream coming here. They fled.
Right.
They came here on asylum. Why did your family seek asylum from these people?
Was there something going on maybe?
So why is nobody asking that question?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have another one from, I think she's from Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
She's from Palestinian descent. Why doesn't anybody ask her family history. Like, how did they come here? Did they come here through regular immigration? I don't know. Maybe that's what I have to look up for the next show.
Yeah.
Or did they come here on asylum also?
Right.
You know, did they come? Because I don't know if you can really just leave Palestine
Without a religious or
no. But I don't. I
Or-
think it's kind of like China too. Like, you're not leaving China unless China knows you left and they let you leave for whatever purpose they're letting you leave for. That's what's so worrisome about all of these Chinese nationalists coming here through Mexico.
young men.
You know, and why? How did you get out of China?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, I don't know. Years ago, I think the Palestinian, but they were under PLO rule since the 70s.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, they had Yasser Arafat there, and he didn't really let them go anywhere either. And he was a terrorist, even though he won a Nobel Peace Prize.
He was a terrorist. He was also Egyptian.
Yes.
And he married a Catholic.
Well, I tell you the truth, that's where the Palestinians come from.
Yeah.
They come from Egypt.
Yeah.
They come from Egypt and they come from Jordan.
And
More so from Jordan.
They were fenced out. They don't want them.
Right. So and the Palestinians' original ancestries come from Egypt and Jordan. And they said, no, you're going to go over here by the West Bank over there. We don't want you over here.
Yeah, they were
And
considered
even
low
during
life.
today's history on it, please explain to me why there's so many refugee camps in the West Bank, because Egypt and Jordan won't let them come in.
Mm-hmm.
They're not allowing them to go to safety. They're not allowed to go to Egypt and be safe. You know why? This is what these schools are protesting.
And yet Israel is Israel is the one that's supposed to take them all in.
Right. So Israel's not supposed to take them in. Israel's supposed to surrender to them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and let them have everything.
Give up their land and make it
The whole thing.
right.
Just give it up. You're not supposed to be here anyway.
And the reason why I'm asking about these kids is I just got a report. It's from a Lawrence Richard, Fox News. He wrote an article. NYPD gives chilling update after 56 arrests at NYU. New school. There's somebody behind this movement.
Yeah,
Now, you and Dennis have been saying this on all of the ones.
Yeah.
That they're organized. There is some organization behind this movement, said the NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Operations, Kaz Daughtry. Officers from the New York Police Department went to 2 different universities on Friday morning to clear out anti-Israeli agitators and break up demonstrations they held on campus. Officers first cleared an encampment at NYU where they arrested several protesters and called cleaning crews. We should get the environmentalist on this.
First off, if these people are doing this, why is the tax dollar paying for it to be cleaned up?
Right. They had to call cleaning crews. So there's your environmental. Where are they? The tents and sweep away the trash left behind by the protesters. The NYPD was then called to take similar action at the new school in New York. After the operations, NYPD Chief of Patrol John Chell spoke to reporters to confirm the NYPD took the actions at the request of school presidents and ultimately arrested 56 people with no incidents between both schools. NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Operation Kaz Daughtry also spoke to reporters saying there is somebody or some organization behind the massive movement where students and other protesters are taking over schools and academic buildings, chanting anti-Semitic slogans, resisting law enforcement and administrators' orders to disperse and get away with little to no consequence. I just want to say, and I said it before, there's somebody behind this movement, Daughtry said. Now, this is the chief commissioner of operations. The level of organization that we're seeing in both of these schools and at Columbia. The deputy commissioner said officers found leaflets with all the details providing provided to the protesters. There are leaflets on how to protest, leaflets on how to commit civil disobedience. There are leaflets on what to do when you get arrested. Leaflets on what to say to the police. Daughtry explained. And this is exactly what you've been saying. It's happening.
And here's another big problem with this whole thing that's going on is when de Blasio became mayor of New York City. So after September 11th, we started a huge anti-terrorism joint task force.
Right.
And we started getting folks into the temples of these Muslim temples. Well, he removed them all. So
yeah.
we don't know what's going on in New York City in those temples and in what they're preaching. So you have an issue there. So again, as of September 10th, 2001, today in 2024, the United States is flying blind.
Right.
We don't know. And with this list of information that they got. Now this is invaluable, all right? This goes through. And this is not something that you can go to these websites and find out who's behind it, because it's shadow after shadow after shadow. They're put way deep inside. Even these alumni that pay into these things. That's why Kraft stopped donating, because he doesn't know where his money's going anymore. That's why all of these billionaires are stopping. They're not contributing to their alums anymore, because they don't know where their money's going, because it disappears.
Yeah.
It's a game of three-card Monte. So the police department and the former FBI that used to actually do law enforcement to protect the United States instead of a political party, they would have been able to come down and they would have been able to tear this down and find out exactly where. I mean, this is how they did the blind sheet. This is how they did September 11th. Because it was set up the same way, but they were able to do it. But if they did it now, you think Alvin Bragg is going to prosecute them?
Oh no!
You think Kathy Koch, what's her name, the governor of New York,
No.
Hogan? You think Hogan is going to keep them in prison, or because they have no bail?
Right, they could just walk out.
So they could just walk out. So all the work and investigations that the NYPD now can do with this information and find out who it is with some good old-fashioned detective work is for naught, because it's not going to get prosecuted. And it won't get federally prosecuted, because you think that Biden's DOJ is going to prosecute these people, and Kokel's not going to make them stay in prison.
It's sad. It's
Hogan's
sad
not going to do that. So, again, here you have it. Why is this going on? Because they've had so many victories that they feel like they're unstoppable. From 2020 this has been,
right,
since Black Lives Matter till present day today, and those leaflets on how to do everything. Again, me and Dennis been saying, Dennis is the one that looked this book up, Sal Alinsky. That is Sal Alinsky's playbook. In that book, for those 8 tenets of socialism, it tells you when you take a building, when you're protesting, take the building.
right.
We've been saying it for 4 years. You want to know what their play is? Read this book. And they're not listening. They are not listening. And I can guarantee you Fox News is going to have one of their reporters suddenly start looking into Elmar and the other one from Michigan and the rest of the squad that come from out of the country that are supporting these people, and find out where these families' background is and what, start asking. Ask Elmar, why did your family become refugees? Yeah. You came here as a refugee. Yeah. You didn't say we're coming here because my business is not going to be able to take off over there like it is because this is capitalism. No, you came, you fled here.
You ran out.
You fled here with your hair on fire.
Yeah.
So that is not right.
No,
and these kids don't know.
They are being used.
These politicians, in particular those two, they know the lay of the land over there. They are just And I don't understand why she would do that. Either one of them. Your families came here because of the situation there. So why are you now supporting the same people that pushed your family out of there?
Yeah. And you know, Jack, what they're doing, if they find out that any of this is being supported by them, which they will never, because they don't fund it, it's through charities or whatever, or organizations, that's a sign of terrorists too.
Well, I tell you
They
the
are
truth.
yelling death to America.
Burning flags. But Mike, it is that because they just had a report that they're saying a lot of Biden's big money donators are donating to this.
Okay, so there you have it.
So
That's
so how can Biden saying? I mean,
has to
if he
keep quiet.
if he wants their money for his campaign that's coming up.
He has to keep quiet. My next thing, I don't know if you have something else. Do you have something else?
No, I was just going to bounce because Dennis had asked the questions that one week, and then I asked them, and now it's your turn.
Well, I just says in the Bible it says that Israel is going to be by themselves. They're already there in the UN. We're the only one that supports them.
Well, he didn't
And right
support him on the last vote.
And now we are. He's being pressured for this election, and he's going to give in, and he already has. And he is stopping the supply of bombs because he doesn't want them to use it in this one other part that they have to take over. Rafah, right. And the president of Israel, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Wow. He said, we'll stand alone.
Stand alone, exactly the way the Bible says it.
Exactly what they said. And I'm telling you, people, the only thing that's saving America is us backing Israel. Once we stop that, God has nothing to do with this nation any longer.
I just wanted to say to all the mothers out there who watch the podcast.
Well, we're going to do it on the end of the.
Oh, never mind.
Okay. Sorry,
Jack.
We're going to do it on the end of the month.
It's okay.
So they're saying we're much stronger than we were in 1948. In other words, what they're saying is, you people that are stopping trading, because there are countries now that are stopping the trade with Israel. The Americans postponing, they're pausing their shipments of bombs to them. They pretty much said, look, they attacked us, and we're going after them. There's not going to be any more Hamas. They're going to be bye-bye. We're going. And we don't care if we have to stand alone.
Well, somebody had asked one of the Democratic pundits, like contributors to one of the more conservative news channels. I forget which one I was watching. I was watching it on the run. And, so obviously, Joe Biden is supporting Israel. And they were like, but how's he supporting them by holding them back the arms for them? And he was like, well, he does have to. And then it was like, well, did anybody stop us from killing civilians in the 20-year war we had? No.
But we went out of our way to try not. We had soldiers that died to try not to kill
Right,
civilians.
and so is Israel's doing the same thing.
They're telling them to leave.
Right, they're giving them the whole game plan.
Yeah.
So then the guy asked the contributor, so if Hamas is defeated, how and who's going to defeat them? So the immediate answer the Democrat said was, what? So he goes, what? And he goes, if Hamas is going to be defeated, how and who is going to defeat them? And they said, now
you can't say Israel.
Israel. Israel's going to have to do it. And they were like, so how are they going to do it? Well, they have to do it without killing civilians. And this is
war.
They asked, in what war did civilians not die?
Yeah.
And that's sick to say. I mean, and
that's what war is.
The tragedy
that's why
of war.
It's so horrible.
Right. And that's why it shouldn't be conducted. Here's another thing that I wanted to say about that. And that is, man, that just flew out of my head as fast as I had it. Dang it. All right, continue on your thing. It was,
Well-
who was going to win it and how they were going to win it.
Well, the prime.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank goodness.
The thing of it, too, is now, so we find out that the President of the United States had halted weapons to Israel that was voted on by Congress and passed by Congress. Now, if he stops that delivery of armament, is that not an impeachable offense?
I would think so. And the funny thing is that they're so into this Israeli war that they were attacked on, and yet, the country that Russia's fighting, this country that used to be so bad that we wouldn't allow them. They weren't a democratic country.
Well, here's the thing.
And we're pumping billions in there with no questions asked.
So, first off, I do believe, and I'll have to look it up. Maybe it's another thing for the next show. I do believe that's an impeachable offense. You're not doing what Congress is telling you. You're the executive. Now, the only way he could have done that by not shipping it to Israel was veto it.
Right, and he did.
And I don't know if it went through Congress with the supermajority, so he wouldn't be able to veto it. So again, I'd have to look into that. So if it didn't go through with the supermajority, he could have vetoed it, but he couldn't because it had Ukraine in it, and he had
Ukraine was in there, and Israel. That's why I
Right.
can't understand how is he posed.
Well, I got an answer for that. So I think it might have been a supermajority, and he couldn't veto it because he's been asking for this, right? Because of Ukraine. And nobody in the Republican Party is outraged about it. Nobody in the Republican Party is saying we got to impeach him. This guy didn't follow a law. We just said yes. So here's the interesting part about it. Now, if he would have held that money, those munitions back from Ukraine, would he have gotten impeached? Well, it's a hypothetical question because it would have never happened. And here's the difference between Ukraine and Israel. I'll tell you right now why these politicians aren't in an uproar over Israel not getting their munitions and making sure that Ukraine gets it.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back to Dwight D. Eisenhower on his farewell speech, how he said, the biggest problem this country has is these wars that are coming ahead of us is that the money they're making out of missiles and weapons. I forget the word for it. So what happened was, of all of these decades, the United States has been, and still to this day, gives things to Israel as far as for defense. But what Israel does a lot of times is whatever we give them, they take apart and then they put it back together again. So like all of their fighter jets and stuff like that they had gotten from us, they know how to repair them.
Right.
So while they're flying them and they need maintenance and they need to be repaired, they can redo it all. They can redo all of our stuff. Ukraine can't. So these politicians are going to continue to make money
on Ukraine,
and they know everything that they send to Israel, eventually Israel's going to do themselves. Right. And so why am I going to waste my time here? I'm not making any money here on this guy. All right, so oh boy, that's an outrage. He should be sending them. I voted on it. Ding, 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 ding. And then they go home with Tommy and Donnie, this guy, hey, let's have a drink. Hey, you see me on the news today? I was really telling them. But thank God we got that money coming in from Ukraine. And that's why we constantly keep giving them money, munitions, with no plan on the end of the Ukrainian war. But the Israeli war should have ended yesterday.
We have limits. You could go this far, and that's it.
Yesterday, it should have been done. Should have been done, wrapped up, bow, done, everything back to normal. And again, if you think about it, if Israel does defeat and destroy Hamas, they're not going to need anything from us.
No. Well,
because they'll
now they got oceanfront property.
they'll have their standard defense, but nobody attacking them anymore. So that dries up. Yeah. They don't need that anymore. Ukraine, there's no plan. It's endless. It's going to go on forever. They're still making as much money as they did. And thank God, the only good thing about it is that the United States is never going to lay foot in that land.
Yeah, Jack, and the sad thing about it is the American people aren't seeing a penny of that.
No.
We lost $60 billion, the American people, that we're going to have to pay taxes on, but we're not going to see this. We're not going to see anything in our taxes because we're not making any of that money on the arms and all that other stuff. It's going to powerful people.
I mean, could you imagine your job is to sit behind a desk this big? I mean, this desk has to be 8 feet long, 3 feet deep. Every day, your job is to sit behind one of these desks in the Capitol and spend somebody else's money.
Yeah. And they do well. They do it
and
well.
They make $174,000, which I think is I think it's more than that now, because I think when Nancy Pelosi was on the way out, she went, "Oh, by the way, I'm going to change that to this." And they got inside trading, and they set up their profits for them. This is just front money. This is what they get their haircut and clothes from. Their family wealth is hidden,
right,
in blind trust that nobody can see for generations to come from our money.
Yep.
And they just sit behind these big giant desks and decide what's better for you.
Yeah. Pelosi has said that when it came to the healthcare, Obamacare. And a reporter, this is when they actually reported, said, "Why are you guys pushing for this when 80% of the American people don't want it?" And you know what she said?
We know better.
We know better than you.
It's just like Joe Biden in his first what do you call it? The address, the State of the Union. State of the Union said, it says in our Constitution, we the people.
Yeah.
That means us in this room. This is we. We are the people.
The government.
I mean, that was a speech written and reviewed by everybody in the West Wing.
They all agreed
and they all said, "Yep, that's exactly who we the people. We are the people.
Yep.
Not those peasants
you are
out there.
peons.
You're a peasant. You're a hassle. You are our problem.
You drive me crazy. If it wasn't for you, I'd be doing a lot better.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, you guys ain't doing nothing for me. Yeah, listen to this one.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to hire somebody to answer that for. I don't want to listen to my constituents.
Yep. Now order me that $5,000 suit, and I need a $400 haircut.
Yeah. Which, talking about haircuts, I got to tell you, the hair and makeup guy did a real good job today.
Yeah. Nice.
Right? Did good. Looks real natural. Well, it's a short show. We only got, that's what I got. You got any more?
I'm just looking. I think that's everything. Just that, like you were saying, Israel has they evacuated 100,000 people from the places where they are going to attack. They're actually saving them from the cowards that hide behind them.
Well, they had 3 of their military guys. They call their army IDF or something like that.
Right.
Israel Defense Force. They had 3 of their soldiers get killed evacuating civilians.
Yep, and that's what we did, and that's why it gets me so mad when I hear people saying we killed civilians in the Middle East. Our men were getting killed to try to stop as many civilians as possible from getting killed. They're the ones that were getting their civilians killed by cowering behind them.
Human shields.
Yeah, and that's what's happening
Putting their
here.
bomb makers under schools and hospitals.
And that's what these people are doing.
This whole war had proven that. I mean,
But they don't hear it.
Israel had showed the video. Like, here's the hospital. I'm going to walk in. Here's the hallway. Boop, there's the hole.
And here's all the ammunition.
And let's go down in that hole and see what's down there.
And it's, it's just, these people are protesting for terrorists. And like you said, who knows how many terrorists are here because they're walking across our borders.
And the biggest thing, Mike, is...
And we're blinded.
We said, you want to stop this? You arrest every one of them and you send them to Palestine. You're Hamas? Sorry. You you did, okay, you didn't break into that building, so so you wasn't exactly doing a terrorist act, so you're not going to go to jail in America, but which you probably wish you were, but we're going to send you where you need to be. We'll even send you first class if you'd like.
Yeah. By the way, the colors of their flags are.
Yeah, well, here it is. Here's the flag I had in your pocket.
There you
You bring that with you. Fly your flag.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you got something for your face. You're female.
Yeah.
So you don't have any rights when you get there.
Yeah.
You would never be able to do this.
No. I mean, you would, but you'd be tortured and killed.
Yeah. Well, probably stoned.
Yeah, you could be stoned. I mean, it's a nasty religion. Sorry if I offend anybody, but I have a prejudice against that religion. It is not a forgiving religion at all.
No,
if you do not convert, you are to be killed.
Right.
It says it right in its books.
Beheaded.
So, yeah, not even put into sleep. No, they're gonna cut your head off.
Yep. Well, when I was telling you about those 360 million Christians that were being, I always want to say prosecuted. That's persecuted. They're a main source of that.
Yeah.
Usually they have to flee, like some of our congressmen.
Well, you know what? Maybe somebody did read the Quran. Probably one of the true Hamas that are in this country and said, listen, if you don't convert, I'm going to have to take your head off. And one of these students were like, because now they're talking about a guillotine, that they should guillotine all the presidents of the colleges.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was in a leaflet.
Yeah. No, just in their Bible.
Yeah. Well, luckily my Bible, forgiving. And I told you guys about 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4. That's the gospel. And I'm going to move on to Galatians 1, 8-12, sort of to a course reference. I said I was going to go through some of the, I feel like I should give the gospel and the cross references, just 2 or 3 verses every time we're on, because I don't think we have much time before they stop us from doing it.
Wow. Yeah, they stopped it in. But I read a thing. I think it was the hospital. The hospital wasn't allowed to give out Bibles anymore.
Yeah.
I forget what state it
They're
was.
slowly trying to get rid of.
I can't remember.
You're right.
I can't remember what state that was. You
You
weren't
know-
allowed to have the Bible.
You
And
know
the
what-
Boy Scouts changed his name. It's not the Boy Scouts anymore.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
It's scary what's going on. Canada and England, you're not allowed to give the gospel unless you have a permit, like a license. Or they can arrest you. And I think that's getting like here. They already arrested a woman who was a pro-lifer.
Well, England has a history of anti-religion. That's why they came to the United States.
Right.
Because it's the
They were
king's word.
King's church.
In
Yeah.
King's Church, so they don't want anything but the King's Church because, like Thomas Paine wrote, if you're gonna have a monarch, that has to be your god, or otherwise, how can he?
Can't share.
How can you send
two
it down?
gods.
How can you send it down from generation to generation if these people are not? Right off the rip, it says in our Constitution that all men are created equal.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
there you
so
have it. So,
it's-
anyway, you want to do the prayer?
all right. Well, let me read the first. Do we have time?
That's all we got is time. Short show, folks.
First, Galatians 1. What was it? 1. I think 8-12.
Yeah, it was 8-12.
Okay. So 1, 8-12. Here we go. But though we or an angel from heaven preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed. This is Paul writing. It's his gospel, given to him by Jesus Christ, not by man. As we said before, so say I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be accursed. For do I now persuade men? or God, or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Christ. But I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of men, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ. That was Paul talking to this church. And I think I'm just going to go through a few verses, one verse a day, every Thursday. And then I'll say the prayer. Well, actually, I have a verse here too.
Well, say the prayer. We did. That was a good voice.
Well, the prayer, the verses for the prayer.
Oh.
It's 1 Timothy 2, 3 and 4. For this is good and acceptable in the sight of God, our Savior, who will have all men to be saved and to come unto the knowledge of the truth. That's in that prayer that I like. And here's the prayer. Let's pray. Dear Father, only you know what is in a person's heart. Only you are able to judge and save. You say it is your desire that all should be saved and know your truth, that through your Son you have made salvation available to us if we but ask for it. We thank you for this greatest blessing of all. Our task, Lord, is to spread the joyful gospel to all, to believe you will open our hearts and show us where we are needed, and we will trust the rest to you. We pray this in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
All right, folks. So you can get this on YouTube on
Fed Up with Politics.
Fed Up with Politics.
And it's on Facebook.
Joe, it's on Facebook. And go ahead, Jack. What do you got?
I just want to say to all the mothers that watch the podcast, I hope you're having a wonderful Mother's Day and enjoy your time with your family and friends.
Very nice.
That is true. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. We won't be here next week, like I said before. Dennis and Madeline are going on a cruise. Tell Eric to have a good time, too. They're going with friends of theirs. I'm going up to New York. I get to see my daughter. Mike's going to be here, nice. But he don't get around much.
No.
So, anyway.
I actually have to be helped in.
So, listen. Have a safe weekend. God bless everybody. Thank you to all your mothers.
Happy Mother's Day.
Where would the world be without mothers?
Empty.
Right.
And people, please start reading. And the last 2 times that I brought these articles up, they came from about 3 or 4 different sources. The last one was from Fox News, a writer from Fox News, but the other ones weren't. They weren't from CNN, MSNBC, none of the major networks. Do your research.
Like Dennis says, knowledge is power.
Yep.
Hit that end stream.
Goodbye, everyone. Oops.
Hit end.
Are we done?